Welcome to the GEB America podcast with your hosts, David Groves and Stephen Gunn. Today we have a special guest host. Renowned speaker and motivator, Simon T. Bailey is here in the GEB studio. He interviews Olympian and author Madeline Manning Mims. Stay with us. This is an episode you won't want to miss. Now here is Simon.
Hi, I'm Simon T. Bailey, and welcome to Release Your Brilliance, where we feature spirit-empowered leaders who are radiating brilliance in the marketplace. Today is a special treat because I have right here in the studio Dr. Madeline Manning Mims, who is the first Black athlete to win a gold medal in the 800 meter, four-time Olympian, and the chaplain for the U.S. Olympic team. We are so honored that she's here, and she is a fantastic human being that I believe you will understand why she's God's favorite daughter. So
I feel that way too.
Welcome, how are you?
I'm wonderful, I'm wonderful. Let me correct you, I'm not the first Black person. I'm the first female American to win the 800 meters gold medal in 1968.
Wow.
53 years later, another young lady, Athing Mo, won the medal again, who I'm mentoring.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Isn't that great?
Absolutely incredible. So I want to jump right in.
Okay.
What were the challenges that you had to overcome to be an Olympian?
Well, the first challenge, and when I was 3 years old, I had spinal meningitis. And the doctors walked into the hospital room and told my mother, we've done everything we know to do, and she's not going to live. And my mother just said, and let her walk out the room, because she loved to call Jesus Dr. Jesus. Dr. Jesus is on her case. And later on, when I was old enough to understand, she said, I prayed, and Madeline, don't ever bargain with God, but I got bargained with him that day. And I said, if you give me my little baby girl back, I promise to raise her up in the ways of the Lord the best way I know how. And she did that. And the next day when they came back in to re-diagnose me or see if I was dead, they said, we don't know what's happening here, but she's 50% better than she was yesterday. But if she makes it, she will be mentally retarded, that's how they said it back then, and physically she'll never be able to do what the normal child does. So actually, Simon, serious, I think they prophesied because I never have done what the normal child does.
Wow.
It was a struggle, 14 years struggling, just sick, in and out, missing a lot of school, slow learner. I often tell young people, I said, it doesn't matter if you're a slow learner or not, just stick with it and get it, it will happen for you. But it was a tough time. It was a time when God was developing a champion, his champion. And through that, you had to pay the price of paying the cost to do what was necessary. And so I would be sick as a dog sometimes and have to come in, and my mom would call the doctor and give me shots. And after a while, I didn't like that, so I didn't tell her. I just stayed out there and played threw up, came back, wiped up, and kept going. And didn't realize that was making my system stronger and stronger to be an overcomer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was the major first thing. The other was we had, racial problems. I lived in the inner city of Cleveland, Ohio, where the whole attitude is, you ain't nothing. You ain't gonna never be nothing, so don't even try. And I looked at people trying to get up by walking on other people and thought, that's not for me. I don't know what is, but there's got to be more to life than this, than what I'm seeing. So I think that's one of the reasons I have so much compassion for the downtrodden. Because I see most of them just trying to get up by stepping on someone. And it doesn't work that way. It's when you lift up somebody that you're lifted up also. So at a very young age, I enjoyed just working with the kids. I didn't realize I was the free babysitter. But I would go outside to play, and all the moms would see me out and send their kids out there, and I would structure games and do all kind of things, and then teach them how to pray, not knowing that that's what I was doing, not knowing that. Just one would come out, you know, and they'd be all sad. I was like, what's wrong with you? My grandma's sick, or my mom's sick, or my dog is sick. We pray for dogs, cats, and birds. And I said, well, let's pray to Jesus. You know, who's Jesus? Jesus is God. I said, oh, okay. You know, the mind of a young one.
Sure.
And we would pray, and we would see miracles happen.
Wow.
But we didn't know they were miracles. We thought that's the way life was supposed to be. You pray to Jesus, who is God, and he heals, and we can play. You know?
So you were a natural leader even back then.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I did not know that, because I was so shy and introverted that if somebody had told me, my husband says, don't tell people you were shy, because as much as you talk now. I was like, yeah, but I really was. And I think because kids used to make fun of me because I was really thin. And I didn't, you know, I wasn't a quick learner. I struggled. But my mother was like, don't start anything you won't finish, you know, and I thank God for that.
So you are here today because of a praying mother who would not buy into the labels that society tries to put on you. So let me ask this follow-up question. So you are an Olympic champion, and you have other young people who want to be athletes, are athletes that you can pour into. I'm curious to understand, what do you say to athletes, but even especially athletes of color? How do you encourage them to stay the course?
I'm the example. I basically say, look where I've come from. You know, and I will never forget that. I came out of the ghetto where the whole attitude is you ain't nothing. And if you took that to heart, you would become nothing. And unfortunately, there were so many people that I came out of that and that I was successful with. Thank God for a praying mother, because I learned how to pray when I was very young, and used that as an opportunity to rise to the next level, even when I was sick. Keep pressing through, never give up, fight, a drive that was instilled in me by faith.
Wow.
And I praise God for the opportunity to share that with athletes. You know, I've done across the United States and even in other countries, where I've spoken to many young people, and all I've done was be a witness. Just tell my story of what God did in my life, and how it took me from under 0 all the way to over 100. You know, to be, had someone talked to me when I was young, first of all, I wouldn't have known what they were talking about if they started talking about the Olympics. But I heard about a girl named Wilma Rudolph.
Yes.
And all I knew, she was a black lady, she ran really fast, and she put America on the map of the world in track and field. And all I thought of is, well, I'm beating the boys around. Maybe one day I can do that, you know, and that's all I thought about, never realizing that she would become one of my best friends.
Wow.
Yeah, she was ahead of me, but she would come back and forth to Tennessee State University. And I never forget Simon. In my first Pan Am Games, she walked up to us. She knew all the girls, but I had never met her. I just saw her on campus at Tennessee State University in Nashville. And I was like, she is a beautiful woman. She was gorgeous, knocked down gorgeous. And I was too shy to say, who are you? So I was telling one of my teammates, I said, who is that lady? I see her a lot of times. And she said, that's Skeeter. That's Skeeter. Who's Skeeter? She said, you don't know who Skeeter? she's Wilma Rudolph. I was like, oh, you're kidding.
Wow.
I heard about her when I was 12.
Wow.
That's Wilma. So I tell her, please don't tell her that I didn't know who she was. What did she do? Skeeta, come here. And so she said, Madeline didn't know who you were. And I was like, oh my goodness. So she put her arm around me and she said, listen, I've heard about you. I've read about you. I've been following you.
Wow.
And I was like, really? She said, yeah, my time is done. My time is over. It's your time. Go out there and get that gold medal. It's yours. Wow. And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, don't yes, ma'am me. I'm not that old.
You know what she did, there's a saying that says encouragement is oxygen for the soul.
Yes, it is.
She encouraged you in that moment. So, Dr. Madeline, we are here in GEB Studios on the campus of ORU, where you got your master's and doctorate, and faith is everything to you. It's played an important part in who you are today. I'm curious to understand, as chaplain for the U.S. Olympic team, how have you integrated faith as well as being a champion? How have you integrated and modeled that?
It's all one. It's all one, Simon. It's not segmented. Over here, she's a Christian. Over here, she's a runner. Over here, she's a speaker. Over here, she's a student. It's all one. How did the Lord say, the body has many parts, but they're all one. And my faith was my core, my relationship with Jesus, of getting to know him when I was young, very young, and growing up with him, learning about. So it was just very natural, and everything that I did, I talked to him about. That's what praying is. He and I talk a lot. And I was just so overwhelmed with the fact that no one was on the team as a chaplain. When I found out what a chaplain was, I could have used that. I really could have. I was the go-to person. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody's knocking on my door, oh, so-and-so did this, or somebody needs to talk about this, or can you pray with me about, or coach is doing this, and and so I was learning how to be a chaplain while I was on the team.
Wow.
And I was captain of many of the teams because of my willingness to make my my captain ledger an opportunity to serve. So it started, the Lord just, even before I came to ORU, he had already started schooling me.
Wow.
While I was on the job training,
Wow.
So all of that became one, and then I began to realize, we really need chaplains. And so I raised up a 501c3 organization called the United States Council for Sports Chaplaincy to train Olympians and Paralympians how to care give through chaplaincy.
Wow.
And go back into their sport and give back like that. That's what I've done. That's exactly what I've done. But that's how you put them all together as one.
And that's going into the marketplace to really make a difference and to influence. I shared with you off camera that I follow YouVersion Bible app, and during the Athletes in Action, your video comes up of you teaching, and it reaches millions of people. And so what does it feel like to you as an Olympian, as a champion, as the person who is overseeing the chaplaincy for the U.S. Olympics, to now reach millions around the globe with your faith and what's important to you?
For this I was born.
Wow.
It wasn't for running around in circles.
Sure.
Thank God for that gift. Had to pay a lot. The cost was high, very high. But at the same time, I learned how to grow. My faith grew through the challenges. And I learned how to get through things, to press through things, and believe that what he started in me was a good work. And because of that, he was going to complete it. It's interesting because I feel to tell you this right now. I'm in a season of my life where I'm getting, experiencing a resurgence. It seems like things that should have happened decades ago are now opening up. And I said, Father, what's going on? Why? The Visa commercial, and then after that, I'm chosen as most distinguished woman in America. Wow. And I mean, just one thing right after another. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? He said, remember in the Bible where it says, in the fullness of time? I was like, oh, this one is me? He said, yeah, back then, it wasn't time for that to come forth. And that's why you got, overlooked, not recognized, not honored, nothing. But now is the time. As you lift others up and encourage, these doors are now opening for you. And I would encourage people that don't think that God doesn't hear your prayers. He's not with you. Oh, this is taking too long. Be patient in the process and walk with Him.
Wow, that is so good. If people want to follow you and find out more information, where can they go?
Well, either you can go to my website, which is Madeline Manning, MadelineMims.com.
Okay.
MADELINE, like Madeline.
Oh, that's good. That's
Mims,
good.
MIMS.
Okay.
.com, and they can follow up on me. Then right now we're in the process of looking forward of doing a full film of my life story.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
Yeah.
So make sure you go and follow her, support her, share what she is doing, because this is the moment, this is the season that we believe God wants you to radiate now more than ever before. So if God can do this for her, God can do it for you. He's no respecter of person.
I forgot all about, my book is out.
And can you tell us the name of the book?
The Hope of Glory, Resurgence of a Matriarch.
What? Give us a little snippet of the book.
It talks about, it's my autobiography, but I rewrote it and then added a sequel to it because of what has happened between myself, the 53 years in a thing Mo, and ministering to her and to the girls that are top in the 800 here in the United States. And so a lot has happened. And you can see it moving forward. But it goes from the time when I was little. My dad, who at the time I wasn't even around, but he was playing in the Negro Baseball League.
Wow.
Yes, and I got to go see that for the first time. Through my struggle when I was a little girl, on through the Olympics, meeting not only Wilma Rudolph, but Jesse Owens was my hometown boy.
Come on.
Yes, and he was the one that was there in '68 that encouraged me and said, "Go get the gold medal." And I was like, "Yes, sir," and I did. Then '72 was the ministry that was taking place in the games, and then all of a sudden a Black September group came in and killed the Israeli. And that story, that we were right across from the dormitories of the Israeli. We saw a lot of it from our porch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That into '76, where I made my third Olympic Games. That was one of the largest challenges of my faith, in that I ran what is called a lethargic race. It's one that if you run long enough, you're going to run one of those races, but you just hope they're not at the Olympic Games.
Sure.
Well, it happened to me, and I got to share with the world that I was not running for Jesus as a sign of hanging on to a rabbit's foot, or that He was a real God. And
so good.
Yeah.
So
and
good.
that I could live again because of my faith and love in Him. And then on into '80, when I spoke to the American people prophetically from the Capitol, where I was responding to the presidential address to the American people.
Wow.
That, and then from that, where it went from there for me to minister.
Wow. We are so excited about you, your book, all that God is doing with you on a global level.
Yes.
And if God can do this for her,
Yes.
God can do it for you. He's no respecter of persons. This is your time to release your brilliance. And in the words of the founder of ORU, something good is going to happen to you.